Hello, everyone. I'm JB Wood. I'm the president and CEO of the Technology and Services Industry Association. I'd like to spend some time talking about some of the key trends that we're seeing for manufacturers really globally as we're in this incredible period of digital transformation in the industry. TSIA is one of the largest trade associations in the world. We focus on the largest technology, manufacturing, and medical device companies in the world. We're primarily a research organization, so we're under non-disclosure with these companies. They agree to give us a lot of non-public data about their business, and then we look for trends, right? So we try to understand what factors are driving financial performance in various industry sectors, what are the characteristics of top performers, what are the changes in customer demand. And in all of this research has led us to write a number of books about transformations in the industry, mainly in B2B sectors, but also in B2C. And one of the things we want to talk about today is this rise of services in the world of manufacturing. Let's face it, for a long time, manufacturers were able to sort of think about themselves as creators of assets, right? We make a product and then we sell that product to the customer, and it's up to the customer to operate the product, to enjoy the product. If it's a business customer that we're selling to translate that product that we sold to them into some form of competitive differentiation. I mean, in effect, the customer was responsible for taking the product that we manufactured and translating it into a business outcome. That was great. Everybody sort of understood their role. Customers willingly took on that responsibility. But more and more today, we're seeing trends that were, arguably already in place before COVID-19 that has really begun to accelerate in the last 12 months. And one of those is around the increasingly short time frames that products have where they're able to maintain competitive differentiation. Your competition is moving very fast. They, like you, are focusing on agility, and really commoditization is a reality, right? Commoditization and the length of time your products are truly differentiated is shrinking. And so the ability to say, hey, look, we cannot survive on just competitive product differentiation. That trend was already in place. The acceleration of commoditization was there. And digital transformation is just making that happen more and more powerfully than ever before. The second mega trend that was already starting, that is really accelerated in the last 12 months, is more and more companies are interested in paying based on consumption. They don't want to just buy assets anymore. They want to pay for use. They want to pay for results. And that move to service-based pricing models was already underway and is really taking off. And that's happening not just in the world of software, with software as a service as an example, but hardware companies, companies like HPE, their biggest selling product right now is basically data center as a service. And it's not just in tech either. It's moving into, as I mentioned, healthcare, medical devices, where hospitals are not buying scanners, they're paying per scan. And in transportation and many, many other sectors like that. So these two trends are really forcing companies to rethink their own business models. Not just to say, my job is to produce an asset, to manufacture something and turn it over to the customer, but more and more companies are looking at service-based business models where they are playing more of a role in making sure that the asset continues to be operating, not just operational yes or no, but really operating at peak performance, that we're becoming more proactive, more preventative. We're working with our customers on a day in and day out basis to make sure that they're getting the optimal ROI from the asset. And so suppliers are looking at business models where they are living with their products much longer, and they are taking more responsibility for making sure that the business outcomes that the customers hope to achieve are actually being delivered by the supplier, and therefore the customer having to do less and to assume less risk in translating the asset into something of value. This is some fascinating data for the tech industry. And this shows the combined quarterly revenue of the 50 largest technology companies in the world. And if you look at the blue line, that is the sum of all the services revenue in the tech industry for the last 10 years. And the orange line is the sum of all of the product revenue. And you can see the trend that I talked about playing out in very, very clear terms. Services used to be much smaller as a percentage of total revenue in the tech industry. And beginning in probably 2012, 2013, these two lines passed. And now services are by far the largest driver of overall revenue among not just software companies, but hardware companies around the world. And we're seeing this same trend take place in multiple adjacent sectors that are technology driven. I mean, let's face it, there are very, very few products today that are being manufactured that don't have a lot of digital capability built into them, right? We can connect to our products even when they're on the customer site. We have technology, sensor capability. We're collecting a trove of data. We're able to analyze this data to help the customer make sure that the asset is performing in top order. But really what it's making us do is to say, we can develop new business models. And all of us our companies have lived through transformations, but mainly they've been transformations in production or transformation in business process. We're now talking about companies who are embracing whole new business models, service-based business models. And that is a completely different world, right? That is a world where you're looking at revenue that comes in over a long period of time, where there are concepts of renewal, of subscription, of consumption. And these are really forcing companies to build new digital capabilities, to enable their workforce to perform tasks they didn't used to have to perform, to be able to have offers that used to not be part of their portfolio, and to deal with limitations. Let's face it, for many years, and if you think about all of the base of your customers and all of the equipment that's out there, a lot of that equipment that you've manufactured is on the customer site. Maybe it was shipped before you had a lot of connectivity, and now you're struggling with how do we adequately connect to those devices. Often the device, the equipment was sold by a channel partner, and so maybe you don't even know who the end customer of that is. And those are legitimate challenges. But as companies are moving more into this, as a service world and driving up their services revenue, they're really having to figure out how to overcome these challenges in new ways. And you could sort of simplify this journey into saying, hey, look, we've always been in the world of services. Service in itself is not a new concept. But maybe it's something we were not great at monetizing. Maybe it's something where we had an overly simplistic portfolio, or where we were not offering services in the most profitable possible way. And we're saying, hey, look, services is going to be a key part of your revenue going forward. And again, many companies are, and I'll show you in a minute, are now moving to 30, 40, 50, 60% of total revenue coming from service offers. And so we think about these three main buckets, right? So how can I use smart connected products and telemetry data to improve the efficiency of my existing services? Secondly, how can I move up the stack, take more responsibility for, making sure that my customer is getting full value for the products through things like preventative and maintenance, remote resolution, and so forth, improving the response times and resolution times for the customers, and ultimately potentially even moving over into pricing models where the customer is, paying for uptime, paying for consumption, paying for business results. And so this journey is a very, very challenging journey, and really requires companies to bring on new business capabilities and digital capabilities that are going to empower them throughout this. So if you think about these phases, right, so we have to do a better job of monetizing services. We have to stop thinking of services as just being warranty or services being just break fix things that we give away, right? So we have to really establish a culture of services inside the company, empower sales to talk in a very convincing and proactive way about services, make sure we've got strong value propositions, and that we have got services that really offer tangible value to our customers, that they want to attach to every product that they buy from you. The second is we have got to get better at, basically our go-to-market around services. We've got to make sure that we're embedding service capabilities into products, that we're both our direct sales force and our channel is really effective at selling services. We've got to make sure that we are going out to the equipment that's in the field already and trying to figure out how to make those connected devices, even if they were not originally built in those ways. So we've really got to think broadly about this. And then ultimately, when you get good enough at this, you begin to offer something that customers love, which is basically to say, hey, we're going to take the risk out of you doing business with us because we're going to offer our solution to you as a service. You're going to pay for what you use. You're going to pay as you monetize the capabilities of our products. So we're going to align, what you pay us with how you get revenue from your customers. But to do that and to get good at that, we need these new capabilities, both digital and staffing capabilities, to empower those outcomes. There are, clear steps that we're seeing best practice companies going through, right? They're starting to think about where in their portfolio they want to make the first moves on this journey. They're starting to think about what it would be like if the assets did not transfer to the customer's balance sheet, but rather they stayed on our balance sheet and we monetize them as a service over a period of time. Number three, they're prioritizing telemetry data. They're making sure that every device is a connected device, that it is yielding the kind of data and insight that is necessary for us to be able to engage in these services. As I mentioned, they're really developing and thinking through these offers, what are the portfolio solutions that we have the courage to begin to offer, and thinking about evolving that year after year to the point where they're actually doing as a service offers around their solutions. And as I mentioned, really getting active in trying to switch out the legacy equipment in customers to the new connected devices, which empower these service-based business models. We are seeing clear evidence of the evolution of, manufacturers' portfolios. They are moving on this journey from product attached services, the kind of standard implementation, installation, maintenance services that you might have seen in the past, moving into much more sophisticated services that are not only creating new revenue streams and new profit streams, but are getting them closer to the day where they can begin to offer their products wrapped in an as a service solution. The data is very clear, right? As we look at manufacturing companies, we are seeing more and more and more of them. If you look at the bottom axis of this, where they are having more and more percentage of total revenues coming from services. Many of these companies moving toward 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% of total revenue coming from services, and getting better at driving up the gross margins. This is not just something we're seeing in traditional sort of IT companies, but we're seeing across many manufacturing sectors globally. And I think that the question that everybody faces is, am I going to be in a race, right? Whether it's my existing competitors or whether it's high-tech companies who are moving into our market. We know that customers love these new advanced service offers. And the question is, who's going to get there first in your sector? And it is really about business and technology capabilities, right? Do you have the capabilities to drive these service business models that generate great customer experiences, generate alternatives to how customers can buy and consume your value, and to help you build recurring revenues, which are the most prized kinds of revenues from a standpoint of the investment community. So it is an important journey. It's a journey we're seeing companies go on in sector after sector, and one that we hope your company will succeed at, because you have aggressively moved in this digital transformation world and developed the capabilities and offers that we see being the winning ones for next generation business models. Thank you all. We wish you all the luck in the journey, and we're sure that you're going to be one of those winners coming out the other side. Thank you.